All right, we made it to the end of chapter 9, or 10, I mean. I was just looking at the 9. There's a little 9 thrown into this. We are going to be looking at arc length and sector area for this last lesson. So we found measurements of arcs before. What we were finding before was the degree measure of an arc. Now what we're finding is the actual arc length. Arc length is the idea of a circumference. If you were to take a tape measure and measure all the way around a circle, you know, how many inches is that all the way around? That is circumference. And so arc length, well first, okay, I'll talk about that in a second. Arc circumference, remember, is pi times your diameter or 2 pi times your radius. Same thing. Now when we look at an arc, you know, we're used to, okay, here's an arc like this, from here to here. Now what we're going to be saying, instead of the degree measure of that arc, which a degree measure tells you how much of the full circle it is, you know, like half of that would be 180 degrees versus the whole 360. That's all a degree measurement. Now we're talking, you know, how do we actually measure from here to here? So we have a fun little formula, but before I give you that formula, so I'm going to go ahead and put an M right there. So that M is just representing the measure of the arc. Not the degree measure of the arc, but the arc, the measure of the arc. Just the measure of the arc. Yeah, no, it is the degree measure of the arc. Just kidding. It is the degree measure of the arc. So, arc length uses that degree measure of the arc. So what we say is AL for arc length is equal to that measure of the arc. We're going to divide it by 360. And that whole thing gets multiplied by pi times your diameter. So basically what you're doing is you're taking the degree measure of the arc and multiplying it by the circumference. And that gives you the length of the arc. Sounds fun, doesn't it? All right, so moving on to area of a sector. Area we know is equal to pi r squared. And then if we just think about what that looks like. So a sector of a circle is, you know, let's say you've got, here's this arc right here, and the sector is going to be the area of that. So it is an area measurement. So let's write down a formula for that. The area of a sector is going to be equal to, we use the degree measure of the arc over 360 again, and this time we multiply it by pi r squared because that is the area of a circle. So the nice thing about these formulas is they both have that degree measure of the arc over 360. You can see they both have these. Now if you're trying to find the arc length, you just have to remember that's like circumference, so you multiply it by the circumference, pi times d. If you're trying to find the area of a sector, that uses the area of the circle, so you multiply it by pi r squared. Not bad.